There's no easy way out.
Some people think, well, I don't have a brand, I just have a business. Well, you do have a brand, and your brand does mean something to your customers. You know, I say a brand is a combination of who you think you are and what your customers know you are. And hopefully who you think you are and what your customers think you are match. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the No Easy Way Out podcast. My name is Tony Nash, and we are coming to you as always from the Woodworth building in beautiful downtown Owasso, home to my company AZEE Branding Solutions, where we help grow your brand from A to Z. At AZEE, we are a one-stop branding solution. We have a team of creative branding experts who are going to work hard to connect your brand with your buyer. So let us know how we can help you grow your brand today. But enough about us. Now we're going to talk about me and my guest today, who I'm really super duper excited about. That is our one and only creative director, Bethany Kviz. Bethany, welcome back to the show.
Hi, everybody. What's up?
We had Bethany on this. I like to keep it silent there because I knew that would make her a little uncomfortable. We had Bethany on the show right when she first started, and we were just getting to know her. And we did this weird segment that Casey had an idea of us to tell dad jokes that he wrote for us. So they weren't that funny, but we tried. But we've gotten to know each other a lot better since then, and Bethany has just become a crucial part of our team around here. We could not do what we do without her, so we are just so grateful to have you on our team, and are so, that's about it. We're grateful to have you on our team.
Well, I appreciate the nice words. That was really kind of you.
Yes. Gratefulness and kindness, two of our core values. We were talking about this quote, this choose your hard quote. The quote goes, marriage is hard. Divorce is hard. Choose your hard. Obesity is hard. Being fit is hard. Choose your hard. Being in debt is hard. Being financially disciplined is hard. Choose your hard. Communication is hard. Not communicating is hard. Choose your hard. Life will never be easy. It will always be hard. But the good news is we can choose our hard. And that kind of goes along with our podcast, No Easy Way Out. The reason I named my podcast No Easy Way Out is because I noticed that a lot of young entrepreneurs especially are always looking for the easy ticket, the easy path to success. And what I learned early on is there is no easy way out. We did an episode recently talking about Jake Paul and Logan Paul, who used the internet and social media to become global icons. And people say, I want that. But I guarantee you that wasn't easy. But even if it was, that is so rare.
That's like the 1%.
It's like 1 in a billion. Like not that many people have that kind of success. And so people see that and they want it, and they don't want the hard parts. And this podcast is really always about being committed to do the difficult things that will push you towards growth. So what I love about that quote is, it gives you a positive thing and it gives you a negative thing. Both are hard. You know, marriage is tough, but being single is really tough. You know? Being fat, especially at 43 years old, and I'm not afraid to say I'm fat, is hard. But being fit is hard also. And so when it says choose your hard, I could choose to just stay this way, and I will have probably a miserable time in my 50s and 60s, and it will be hard everything, but it's my choice.
Absolutely.
Or I can choose to do difficult things, go to the gym and get fit and make it a little bit easier on me. So we talked about this, and then we kind of looked at this as from a branding standpoint, from a business standpoint, this kind of mentality of choose your hard really applies in business. And so we kind of wanted to take a minute today to encourage business owners listening, entrepreneurs, or just the average everyday person listening to this, that there are going to be difficulties ahead. You have to choose which ones you want to take. And we hope that we can talk some sense into you and to ourselves.
Absolutely.
So that when we leave today, we are going to choose the hard that pushes us towards growth in our life. So,
and I think too, that quote puts it into perspective, because every single day you go by and you don't think about how difficult it is. You just think about how you're not to where you want to be. So when you actually hear that quote, I think it puts it into perspective. Like, where would I be if I wasn't putting this effort in? What is the opposite? And I think that is really nice what we're about to go through. It's going to put it into perspective with these business owners. Where do you want to be? Do you want to give up and have the failure, or do you want to push through and have that success?
Well, I mean, I talk to so many business owners. That's what we do here. And I get to talk to probably dozens of business owners every week. And especially with last year, 2023, I hear a lot of people say, last year was a hard year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard for us. There were hard financial situations. The economy is tough. People are scared and not spending their money on things that they used to. And there are difficulties. But then I asked them, how much are you posting on social media? How much content are you making? What's your website look like? All the things that they should be doing in those downtimes. What's your marketing look like? And they're not doing any of those things. And so some of the difficulties that they're having are self-inflicted. And that's just honest, folks. I would say the same thing to us. We have noticed a direct correlation that when we're active on social media and being strategic about it and planning and posting, our sales go up. And when we don't do that and when we get lax on that, our sales go down. When we're actively pursuing our marketing objectives and strategies and investing time and money into us, it results in better sales. And when we don't, it doesn't. And so you have to do more. You have to do some things that are going to help you. And so maybe you are an entrepreneur or a wantrepreneur and you started a business and you didn't realize how hard it was going to be. I will tell you, when I used to be an employee, I used to always think, man, if it was my business, I would do this. And why don't they do that? And why don't they spend money on this? And why don't they pay their employees more? And why don't they offer this? And why don't they do that? And what you realize is when you are in it, it's hard. And maybe you're listening today and you're at a point where like, man, this business is hard. It's become more than I wanted it to be. It's become more difficult than I thought. And so today we want to talk to you about that. Yes, it is hard, but the alternate would be hard as well.
Yeah. Let's get to it.
So let's get right into it. So let's talk about financial decisions, okay? Being rich, having a successful business that makes lots and lots of money, that's multi-million-dollar business, it's hard. But what's the alternative?
Not being rich.
A business that's struggling.
Yeah.
A business that's having a hard time meeting payroll and paying their bills and staying up to date. Both of those are hard. And so maybe you're in that position right now where you're like, man, we can't afford to do marketing. We can't afford to spend money on social media. We can't afford to post. We can't afford to pay somebody to help us with this thing. I mean, what would you say to that person? To the person who came to AZEE realizing their business was on the verge of, facing failure or shutting down and saying, I just can't afford to do this or that. What would you tell them?
Well, I would tell them that we need to look through where their money would be worth it. Not every business is the same.
Yeah.
So just because one person comes in, we think that they should put their money into this sector of design or whatever. Maybe it's social media. So we need to analyze what's going to help you, but you might still have to put money out there to get that return. But you have to, and maybe it's not paying us. Maybe it's just learning a new skill on how do I post on social media? Who is my target audience? And all of those things are hard because you have to sit down and analyze your own business. And so it's a kind of like you need to put that effort in. And if you have a little bit of money, that's what we are here for.
Yeah.
But we also want to help you and consult you if you have to do it on your own.
Well, and I promise you, if you come to us and you're struggling financially, we're not going to try to sell you anything.
No.
We genuinely are going to try to help you. We're going to give you some tips and things that you can do on your own without spending money with us, but probably we'll encourage you to spend some of your money on some things, whether it be ads or whether it be social media content or whether it be updating your website, or which all of those things can cost a little bit of money, but you have to do them. You have to do those things. And I know it seems hard, but where you're at right now with the financial struggles is also hard. And so you might have to look, where can I cut back? What are some things that maybe I don't need to spend money on? What are some things that maybe I could cut back on for the month or for 6 months and spend it on something else? Really, both are hard, folks. Both are hard. You got to choose which one that you're going to go after. So, I mean, financial one, that's pretty easy to understand.
Well, and I think that you also have to make the comment that, like, when you say being rich is hard, I bet you a lot of people are going to be like, no, it's not. We got money. We can do this stuff. But for the average person, getting rich is hard.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't mean being wealthy by itself is hard. I mean, obviously everyone has struggles, but that should probably say getting rich is hard.
Yes.
Staying poor is hard, right?
Yeah.
I mean, or getting financially independent is hard.
Yep.
Or staying financially dependent is hard. Both of those are difficult. And the decisions that you make every day for your business, for your brand, are impacting one of those or the other. And I would say if you have to choose choose the one that's going to propel you towards growth. Make sacrifices somewhere else. Don't go out to eat as much. Get a cheaper car. Sell your house and get a smaller house. I don't know what it is, but if you're in this place where you're like, man, this is hard, Choose something that is also going to be hard, but it's going to propel you towards a brighter future. And then, we talk about success and failure. I always say, failure is success has to be defined by the individual. Success means something different to everybody. Some people that means lots of money. Some people that means freedom, time, energy, doing something they love. Same thing with failure. I believe that failure is not just because you had a bad day or because something didn't go right, or even if you close the business. I think it's only failure when you just quit. But success is hard. It's difficult. Running a successful business, we've been running AZEE now for 9 years. We're celebrating 9 years right now. And it hasn't been easy. It's been fun. I've enjoyed it. I love what we do. But it's hard. It's hard work. It's time. It takes time. It takes money. It takes energy. It takes effort. It takes sleepless nights. It takes commitment. It takes going the extra mile. It takes doing things that you probably wouldn't have to do if you weren't the owner of the company. It means taking phone calls in the middle of the night sometimes. It's all those things. And so I would say if you don't love it, it's probably not for you. I happen to love it. But then on the opposite, failure is hard. So, our question to you today is, what are you going to put your energy towards?
Yeah.
You got to do something hard. There is no easy way out. There is no easy way out. And so whether you choose to be a successful person or whether you allow yourself to fail, I believe that everybody can be a success if you clearly define what success looks like to you.
Well, and I think it's important too to know that every failure helps you get closer to that success.
Right.
So just because whatever your goal is and whatever success means to you, it's going to come down to, you're probably not going to get there the first time. And you might have to fail a few times to get there, but it's that pushing through that's going to get you to the ultimate success, whatever that may be to you.
Yeah. Michael Jordan says, I've never lost. I either win or I learn.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at you first have defined, this is what success means to me individually. My success could be completely different than what yours is. Once you've defined that, then you go towards it. When you have setbacks, when you have difficulties, when you have things that make it seem like it's too hard, keep pushing yourself towards it and you will get there. Let's talk about social media. One of the number one reasons we hear that people don't post on social media more. Well, I'll tell you what I hear, and then I want to hear what you hear. People say, I don't know how, I don't know what to do. What do you hear when you ask people, why aren't you posting more on social media? What do people say to you?
I don't have time.
I don't have time.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
And like you said, a lot of people don't know how, and learning how takes time.
Right. And it seems daunting and it seems overwhelming, and it is hard.
Well, I think there's more to you can get as much content out there as possible, and that's always a good thing. But we have noticed with a strategy that our own business has really benefited from that. So people don't even, oh, do I just post a picture of my storefront? Do I do this? And there really is no direct answer. You just got to work through. There's a marketing strategy for a reason, and who is your target audience. But once again, all of those things are overwhelming.
Well, it's easy for you guys. You have web designers, you have video people, you have video equipment, you have graphic designers, you have social media experts, you have branding experts all around you. It should be easy for you guys. And let me tell you, it's not easy. We take an entire day every month and do a content planning day where we got members of the team in a room for a whole day planning out what we're going to do and coming up with an idea and coming up with strategies and coming up with ideas for captions and different types of content, keeping it fresh, keeping it what our people want to see, analyzing what worked in the past and what didn't work. And then from there, we then assign out the content, and we have to have the employees design the post and make the videos and take the photos and do all the things that cost the company money and time. And let me tell you, we try to run, a tight ship here. Everybody's busy. Nobody's just sitting around with 10 extra hours of free time. And you say, well, I don't have time, or my employees don't have time. You have to make time.
Yeah.
It is hard.
You have to prioritize.
There have been times in our company where we have not prioritized our social media. But running a business that has a dynamic social media presence or a dynamic digital presence is hard. But let's think of the alternative. Trying to run your business in 2024 without social media, I think that's way harder. That's way harder.
Especially because the younger generations are even more into this. But when I want to look into something, I am going to go either try to find them on, find a website. If I'm going to a restaurant or something and I want to find their menu, or I'm going to Facebook and I want to see the vibe of it. I want to see what does the outside look like? How cozy is it on the inside?
100%.
And to have something to go reference before I even get there is huge.
If you don't exist online, meaning you're hard to find, and you just don't exist
Right.
today. It's not like the days where you just put a good yellow page listing and you run an ad in the newspaper and you have a great sign out in front of your building. Like, that's not how people look for you anymore. American Express recently did a study that said over 80% of people, when they're looking to buy something, shop somewhere, stay somewhere, eat somewhere, whatever, they at least look online first. They're looking for restaurants near me, hotels in Orlando, things to do in Virginia Beach,
Yep.
whatever they're looking online. It says out of those 80% of people that look online, more than 50% of them will then book online or buy online or shop online if that's an option. And so,
that's incredible.
what does that tell you?
You got to get online.
Well, it tells you that, but it also tells you that those people are making their decision to buy, purchase, shop, stay, eat based on what they see online. You don't even get a chance to tell them how great you are. They're not calling you to say, why should I stay with you? Or what's best about. They're basing their decision based off what they find online. And so if what they find about you on the internet is either bad information or out of date information or no information at all, they've moved on to somewhere else. And then the same study said that 99.8% of those people make their decision based on consumer reviews.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
That is absolutely huge.
So curating, let's say I'm not going to do social media, at least take the time to curate really good online reviews. Ask people who have bought from you, shopped with you, to make positive reviews online, because if you think 99.8% of people are making their decision, how many people came across your business and went somewhere else because they didn't like what they read?
Oh, absolutely. And when we are looking up a restaurant and we're in a different city, we're like, restaurants near me. Well, we're going to look at, for one, all the pictures that come up right on Google.
Yep.
And sometimes that's what other people post, but it's sometimes what you post yourself.
And you can go on and change those photos if you want.
And it makes a huge difference, in how, where do we want to eat? Because what's the atmosphere that we're looking for? And you can see that in photos. You can see that in how you present yourself online. And it's huge.
You have no idea how much business you are potentially losing by not being active online, on social, on web, and having that presence. And yes, I know it's hard. Maybe you don't know how to do it. Maybe you can afford to work with a company like ours that can help you. Maybe you just need training. We also offer training that is very inexpensive, where we bring your team in and we just spend a couple hours training you on how to do it yourself, because we want to equip you. We want to see businesses succeed. Over 80% of small businesses fail. And the reason is because they're choosing a hard that leads to failure, as rather choosing the hard that leads them towards success. And so whatever you're going to do is going to be difficult. Posting on social media is hard, but running your business without it is even harder. I want to talk about this, Beth, because this is kind of where you and I are a little bit different. We wrote something in the article. By the way, we wrote a whole article on this. You can find it at our website, azee.co. We have lots of cool articles there about branding and marketing and social media. Hopefully you'll subscribe to that and you'll enjoy those. But there's a whole article about this called Choose Your Hard. And we talked about the difference between owning your own business is hard. Working for somebody else can be hard. So maybe you're listening to this and you own a business. And if you're like me, you started a business because you got tired of working for other people. That was one of my main reasons. I had worked for several companies and I had some good bosses and I had some really bad ones, but I just realized I didn't want to work for somebody else anymore. I would rather spend 100 hours working for myself than 40 hours working for somebody else. I mean, I think that they say that's the definition of an entrepreneur. I make less money than I made at my last job. I work probably more hours in the whole scheme of things, but I love what I do. And so it is hard. It is hard. But for me, working for somebody else is also hard. Dealing with company politics, dealing with unfair treatment, dealing with unreasonable hours, no vacation time, having to be, like for me, having a schedule where I had to be in the same place every day from 9 to 5. Like, that's hard for me. What I love about this business is every day is new and it's different. But those are both hard. And so there's some people out there that are trying to figure out, do I want the hard life of being an entrepreneur, or do I want the hard life of working for somebody else? And so I'd like to hear your perspective as you have determined in your life. I mean, you're extremely talented. You could start your own business, but you've determined you'd rather work for somebody else. And you worked for a company for 5 years, and now you've worked here for almost a year, so 8-9 months. And so what would you tell someone who's in your position where they feel like it's hard but are considering the alternative?
Well, I think this is a very personal preference no matter what. Wherever you're at, you have to know your personality.
You have to know yourself.
Yeah, you have. And I am somebody who I don't want to deal with the financials. I don't like that. I don't want to organize the clients. I don't want to have to go out searching for them. I don't think that that's where I thrive. I like having a system to follow where you can tell me what to do and I'm like, great, let's go do it.
Yeah.
And I do some freelance here and there and it's just enough to kind of keep me busy on the side. But for my personality, I just know that I would not thrive on my own or as like the main person in charge having to go out and get that business. But on the other side of that, you kind of touched on it a little bit. It is hard to have to always answer to somebody. And it's hard that when you're doing something, you know that money's being split into throughout the office. It's not coming directly to me. So when I'm doing freelance and I know I'm getting all that money, you sit there and you think like, oh wow, I could be doing,
hour, dollar
yeah,
for dollar.
yeah. Except for then when you weigh the options, what I got to choose my heart.
Yeah.
And for me, I like working for someone. I like the atmosphere in the office, and I like not if something goes wrong, it's not my risk.
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to, really.
And you can go home at night and turn it off if you need to. Yeah. Well, and I think the key to what you said there is you have to know yourself.
Yeah.
You have to know how much you can tolerate, how much risk you're willing to take. You have to know how much stress you're able to handle, how low your bank account can go before you want to jump off a cliff. You have to know those things about yourself. And I think, if you're determined, like I do better as an employee, that's great. There's nothing wrong. That is not a less thing.
No.
Nope. You have to choose.
You are not better than me. No,
but it is going to be hard. It is going to be hard. You're going to have to play by the rules of your employee. You're going to have to do what they tell you. You're not going to have as much freedom. You're not going to have as much flexibility, but you might make more money. You might be happier. You might have so it's going to be hard, but it's about choosing which one is the one you want to go for. For me, I've just determined I prefer working for myself. I like, the position that I'm in. And so maybe today you're listening and you are a business owner. You're like, I don't like this. This is too hard. Consider, are you the type of person that could just go back to work for somebody else and be okay with that? Then do that and be all right with it. Or are you the type of person that says, you know what, I just got to suck it up. It's going to be hard either way. And I have to go for it. I have to do the things that make sense for me. So, when it comes to anything in your business, whether you're an employee, whether you're an employer, you have to choose your heart. There's going to be difficulties no matter what road you take. You got to know yourself. You got to know your tolerances, what you can take. But listen, my advice is invest in what you're doing. Decide to invest in the thing that's going to push you towards becoming better. Like we talked about earlier, being fat is hard, but being fit is hard. So I can choose the hard of being fat, but that choice, even though it's mine to make, doesn't push me towards being better. It doesn't push me towards living longer. It doesn't push me towards having more energy. It doesn't push me towards being a better father, a husband, living a longer life, being happy. Whereas the other, even though it's still hard, it pushes me towards those better things, better future, better whatever. And so what I would say when it comes to your business, the choice is yours. But choose the hard that's going to propel you towards a brighter future. Choose the hard that's going to propel you towards success. Choose the hard that's going to make you a better version of you at the end of the day.
I agree with all of that.
You agree. Good. So invest some time in your business. Invest some money in your business. Invest some resources in your business. It is hard. It is challenging. I'm not sitting here acting like whatever level of success we have achieved, even though I feel like we're still a ways away from being successful from what I want to be. It hasn't been easy. It's been very hard. And I will tell you, I don't know a ton of people, and this isn't to sound braggadocious, I don't know a ton of people in my life that could have gone through and pushed through the difficult times like we have here. And so maybe it's not for you, but this was the hard that I chose. And so, you determined I want to work for someone else. That's okay. Make that choice. Beth, anything to add to this before we move on to us ranking the top 5 things every brand needs to be successful?
I think that this quote is it can resonate with everybody. And like you said, it's a personal preference no matter what. You could be somebody who doesn't care to achieve all of these incredible things. What success to you could be smaller than what it is to me, to the next person. And that's totally okay. But the point of this is to be like, it's not going to be easy, whatever you choose.
Right.
Life is, I mean, you have seasons which are great and seasons which are not great. And you just got to work through it if you want to reach your goals.
That's it. The article focused a lot on business owners and entrepreneurs, but the beginning of it, we started with the quote that really applies to all of us. That thing that you're going through right now, it's hard, but consider the alternative. What's harder for you, or what's better, or really, I think the better thing is which thing pushes you towards, your version of success and those things. So go out there and try something great, my friends. Don't take the easy way out. Go out there and do something big. You can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. You can do it. Today's episode is sponsored by Delk Siding, one of our seasoned sponsors. Are you in need of siding solutions for your new home, commercial building, or insurance repairs? Ooh, I think I might be. Look no further than Delk Siding Solutions. Their team of experts is dedicated to providing professional and reliable service to our clients or their clients in Lansing, Owasso, Flint, and surrounding areas. That's where all of our listeners are. Hopefully you have some siding solutions that you are in need of. Whether you're in need of full siding replacement, new build installation, or damage repair, they can help. Contact them today to schedule a consultation and estimate. We'll put their information in the comments. They will work closely with you to understand your needs and provide you with the best possible solutions to meet your budget and timeline. Let Delk Siding Solutions take care of all your siding needs. Thank you, Delk, for your support of the No Easy Way Out podcast, and go check them out. So we're going to take just a few minutes. I asked Beth, as we do at the end of this season, we determined at the end of our show, we're going to rank something, and we determined to give our top 5 things that every brand should do or should have in order to push themselves towards success. So are you ready for these, Beth? Let me pull mine up.
Yeah, I'm ready.
We'll start with you. Give us your number 5. Obviously, we're assuming that you already have quality products and services. Okay, so of course, every brand needs a quality product or a quality service. So we're just assuming you have that. You didn't put that as one, right?
We'll find out.
I was just assuming you already have quality products and services. Here are the 5 things that I think every brand needs to do if they want to be successful. Beth, what is your number 5?
Okay, my number 5 is have a good culture. And what I mean by that is that you have to establish a good place for people to be, whether that is with your employees or with your customers. And I think you also need to establish what your culture is, because that's going to attract the type of people who are coming in. But it's very important for your employees to be on board with where you're going and where you're at, and to have the same core values as you. Because if you don't have like-minded people, and it's good to have different types of people, but you want to have people with the same goal. Yep. And if you don't have that, you're going to struggle to get bigger, because you need help to get there.
Absolutely. Well, my number 5 goes right along with that. And what I called it was brand consistency, meaning the company that you are, the culture that you're creating, is not just making sure you have a logo that looks good and has the right colors and the right fonts and the right backgrounds and blah, blah, blah. That is part of a consistent brand. But what I mean is, does your brand say the same things to all the people? Does it say the same things to your employees? Does it say the same thing to your clients? Does it say the same thing to your community? And so to have a consistent brand, it's really about building a company culture that's built around the things that you value. We call them our brand values, our core values. You can find ours on our website. But the things that you put a high value on. And then what we do, because we want our brand to be consistent, not just in what we create, but in the people that we hire and the people that we work with. We hire our employees more based on, do they match our core values, and less on their qualifications, their resume, their education. Those things are important, but more important is, are they consistent with our brand? And so brand consistency is a key part of it. That's my number 5. What's number 4 for you?
Number 4. So what's hard is ranking these, because I think all of these are important.
Yes.
So when I say my 4th is web presence.
Okay.
And I feel like that could be higher on the list.
Sure.
It's because it's so important.
Yeah.
So a web presence, if you are not able, we kind of had this conversation, but if we can't find you, when I go Google, what are we going to do? Nobody can see you.
Yeah, I'm just listening.
Too
much eye contact.
I'm starting that over. We're going to cut all that. Okay. My number 5. Will you ask me my number 5 again?
Well, I will ask you. So Beth, what is your number 4?
Oh, yeah.
You already told us your number 5.
Okay.
What is your number 4?
Lots of cuts. Okay.
So Beth, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is actually web presence. I do feel like that could be anywhere on the list. It's hard to put these from 1 to 5 because I think they're all important. But I choose web presence because if you go Google a business and they don't come up, there's no more information. I'm going to move on to the next business.
You're already moved on.
I want to see, because if I can't even find where you are on Google, if I can't find your location, that alone, but to have a website is even better because you have all that extra information. If I want to know pricing on something, if I want to look at a menu, if I want to see who works there, I want to be able to look for that. And if it's not there, you're really going to start losing people.
Yeah, if your website's out of date or if it's not
Yeah.
existent, people can't find it, you might as well, you're dead in the water. That's such a key part to your business. My number 4 is video content. It is the number one trending type of content that people are looking for. I could give you all kinds of statistics on people that have videos for their brand versus people who don't. You have to be making video content. It does not have to be professional with a camera crew. You have a smartphone. You can start making video content now. It could be as simple as doing Facebook or Instagram stories, but you got to start doing video content. It's important.
Absolutely.
Tell your story.
Tell your story.
Number 3.
Number 3 is marketing strategy. And when I say that, I include social media, I include your target audience, and what you're also putting out on social media. So I didn't put video as an individual one, but I think that goes along with all of that.
Yep. I put my number 3 was your number 4. I just put an up-to-date or dynamic web presence. Your website has to be on point. It has to be. It is a key. It is the digital address to your business. Okay, so maybe you have a physical address and that's important, but if you don't have a digital address, you're losing a lot of customers.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got to look right, be found.
Be found.
Number 2.
Number 2, brand identity. So that's one that you already kind of touched on. It's very important to have a logo. It's important to have colors and to have a style because you want to put all of those things out there consistently that people can recognize you. Yep. People have to be able to find you. If I see AZEE on a shirt, I know exactly who it is. Granted, I work here.
I'm glad you know
okay.
that.
Nike. Okay, I can give you a million examples.
Yeah. Good. My number 2 is a dynamic social media presence. More important than ever, you have to have a good dynamic social media presence today. If you are not using social media, and we've said this multiple times in the episode, if you're not using social media, you are missing out. You are leaving money on the table. You have to have a dynamic social media presence.
Absolutely.
Number 1, drum roll, please.
Number 1, a product or service that you believe in. So it kind of touches what you said, that we already know that you have a good product, but you have to believe that.
You have to believe
you are the person who's going to put all the effort. You are the one who runs your business. Somebody else can come along and tell you that idea is stupid. It's never going to make
Absolutely.
it. How many ideas out there are making billions of dollars? Someone told them that they were stupid. I think you even had that experience starting this business.
Yeah.
So you have to believe wholeheartedly what your product and service is offering.
100%. I love that. Yeah, when I started AZEE, everybody told me it was a dumb idea, but I believed in it, knew what I could do, and I stuck with it. And here we are 9 years later, and someday we'll be successful. So, all right. My number 1 goes along with what you mentioned, I think, as number 2 or 3 is just brand identity. So to me, brand consistency and brand identity are a little bit different, but how do people identify? I put here, thank you. I lost my place, but
He just said thank you to his phone.
Thank you to my phone. I talk to Siri often. No, I think a clear brand identity is so important. Like as Beth mentioned, your logos, your colors, your fonts, but when you put stuff out, it needs to be clear what your brand is about, what you're doing. And if your brand is inconsistent, if it's all over the place and people don't know what it is, again, that's one of those things that you're losing money. We come across clients all the time that have 2 or 3 different logos, different types of logos on different places. They have one logo on Facebook and one logo on their website. And you think, oh, that's no big deal. I tell you today in 2024, it is a very big deal. And customers are finding you and seeing that and going somewhere else. I promise you. And so you have to get very clear about what your brand is and make sure that it's consistent. So it sounds like we pretty much picked the same 5 things, maybe in a little different order. You're right. It is hard to rank them, but if you feel like this all seems overwhelming, get a hold of us. We're happy to just sit down with you. I'll sit down with you, have a cup of coffee, no cost. I'll even buy the coffee for you. I'm not going to try to sell you something. If we feel like there's a way we can help you, we will. But I can at least listen to where you're at and try to give you some direction. But listen, at the end of the day, folks, you have to choose your hard. It's going to be hard. Life is hard. Business is hard. Success is hard. But the alternatives are also hard. So you today can choose your hard. You today can take control of your destiny and pick the thing that you decide to go. We encourage you to choose the hard that pushes you towards your version of success. Any final thoughts, Miss Beth?
I feel like there's no easy way out.
I do feel like that. I also feel like it's great that you have your blanket. When we come in every day, Beth has a blanket that she's cuddled up in. She has a footstool that she's got her feet up. She's got a little heater going. It doesn't matter if it's summertime. I come in the office. I'm like, man, it's hot in here, and she's cold. So we thought, yeah, bring your blanket on the show. You look cozy. She's on brand.
Yes. Yeah, I just had to be consistent with my brand.
Brand
this
consistency.
Is me.
All right. So if you haven't already, we want you to go and like, follow, subscribe, share this with people. Let people know if you like our podcast. Please let us know. Maybe put in the comments some of the things that you find to be difficult. And if you want to reach out to us. We would love to hear you. Beth, thanks again for coming on, taking some time today. We enjoyed having you. And we're going to have lots more episodes with you on this season.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
If you want to see Beth more, let us know. If you've had enough of Beth, let us know that as well. Thumbs up or thumbs down. But either way, we're going to still have her on the show.
Just
more.
don't watch.
And again, thanks for tuning in. As my mother always said, you can't and never could until you tried. So go out there and try something great, my friends. And don't take the easy way out. We'll see you next time.